Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. All praise and gratitude are due to our Lord, the Creator, the Cherisher, the Sustainer of the universe. We give thanks to Him for the arrival of the holy month of Ramadan. We give thanks to Him for enabling us to worship Him, to serve Him, to recognize Him, to remember Him, and to turn to Him during this month, to be able to fast, to be able to perform our prayers and our supplications. May His peace and blessings be upon all of His apostles and messengers, and upon the seal of the messengers, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and upon his pure and immaculate progeny and family. May the peace of the Lord be with you and upon you, surrounding you, my dear brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The holy month of Ramadan is upon us, has already arrived. What do we do during this month? How do we make the best out of this month? What do we learn during this month? What are our objectives? Why do we fast? Many of the young generation are asking this question. Why do we have to fast? Nowadays, the holy month of Ramadan in the northern hemisphere, it's much longer than the southern hemisphere. Sometimes the days last about 17, 18, 19 hours for some people who live in northern Europe and northern America. Why do we have to fast? While the Quran says, يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر. The reason for your fasting during this month, God does not want to torture you. He's not intending hardship for you. He's not intending to make life difficult for you. What He intends for you is to make life easier for you. Then if He intends to make life easier for us, why should we fast? Why should we bear the hunger and the thirst during these long hours of the days of the month of Ramadan? يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر. Because God says, if you pay attention to the meaning of this hunger and this thirst, why do you abstain from food and drink? There is a reason for it. There is a goal. Abstination from food and drink is not a goal by itself. It's a mean. It's a mean to reach a goal. What is the goal? The goal is also mentioned in the Quran. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So you become a better person. You reach righteousness and self-control and self-restraint. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. This is the goal. How do you reach that goal? Through being patient, through seeing the food right before your eyes. You see the drink right before your eyes, but you don't touch it. You don't get close to it. You say, I control myself. Yes, I'm thirsty. For those of you who live in areas where the climate is generally hot, you suffer from the thirst. Yes, it hurts you sometimes. But this hurt is going to deliver something good for you. This type of hurt, this type of suffering, at the end, if you sustain it, if you bear it, if you tolerate it, it is going to deliver something powerful, energizing. It is going to deliver a relief for you at the end. But if you give in to your weakness and you say, no, I can't bear this, this is too much for me, then you are not going to be a better person. You are not going to control yourself in the face of temptations and sins. This thirst, when you are really thirsty, when you are really thirsty and you don't drink, this thirst is going to teach you to face another difficult situation in your life, but you don't give in. You don't collapse. You remain strong. You stand your grounds. Another challenge in your life. In the face of that challenge, you don't run away. You remain there strong. This is the meaning of the fasting. These are the objectives of the fasting. Many objectives. Number one, self-control. Without self-control, without self-restraint, we cannot succeed. We cannot move forward. You cannot accomplish anything if you are not able to control your intentions, your feelings, and your conduct, and your behavior. You would never be able to move forward. The journey begins with the self. And the first thing we have to do with the self is to be able to control our desires. Is to exercise a higher degree, a higher level of self-control. And that training begins during the month of Ramadan. And that training begins with something that is very essential and very important for you, which is food and drink. Nobody can say, I don't like to drink. Nobody says, I don't like to eat. I can survive without eating, without drinking. You can't say this. We all need to eat. We all need to drink. And God is testing us with these two most basic needs: food and a drink. He says, I want you during these hours from dawn, Fajr, till a little bit after sunset, which is Layl. ثُمَّ أَتِمُّ الصِّيَامَ إِلَى اللَّيْلِ, the darkness, which is about 15 minutes, at least 15 minutes after the actual sunset. I want you during this period of time to remain strong, abstain from drinking and eating. So when you are willing to do that, when you are willing to do that voluntarily, not by force, not because someone is watching you or someone is forcing you, you do that because you like it, you believe in it. This is your personal conviction. You believe this is good for you. When you are ready to do that and give up on the most basic, needs of yourself, then you will be able. You are growing higher and higher, spiritually, mentally, religiously, morally. You are growing higher and higher, and you're going to reach a level when there is any sort of challenge faces you in this life, any sort of difficult situation where you have a difficult choice, you don't know whether you choose A or B. You are confused, you don't know what to do. Or when you face a situation when there is a lot of pressure, a lot of temptation on you, you can stand your ground. You will make the right choice. You would not give in or succumb to these temptations. You will say no to them. No matter how difficult and tough the situation is and the pressure is mounting on you, still you are able to say no. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to go there. I'll stay away from that. This is the result of the fasting. This is the result of staying away from drink and from food. Teaching yourself to have a higher level of self-control. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. And this is what we need. This is what the youngsters need, and this is what the adults need, and this is what the elderly also need. This is what men as well as women need. We all need to exercise this. Without self-control, my friends, there will be no difference between us and animals. Actually, some animals, they are able to a certain degree, they are able to exercise self-control. But some humans, they don't have. When it comes to food, they lose themselves. When it comes to drink, when it comes to money, when it comes to other temptations, they collapse. They become weak. This is the human weakness. Each person in the community, in the society, has his or her own weaknesses. We have to discover our own weaknesses. What are the things that I am weak at? I can't control myself. I have to discover them. I have to work on that area. I have to work on that area to make myself a better person. The month of Ramadan is an opportunity for us. It's a golden opportunity for us. Nothing can train us, nothing can rehabilitate us, nothing can prepare us like fasting. When you go through long days, especially now, when Ramadan in the northern hemisphere arrives in the summertime, longer days, longer hours, stressful hours. People have to work. In Europe, in America, people have to go to work. Some students, they have summer schools. They have to go to classes. And they need to nourish themselves. They need to drink. They crave for coffee, for tea, for a sandwich, for a bite here, for food, for a sweet, for Starbucks. But they say, no, I can't do this. I have to wait. They say to themselves, wait, wait, wait. Don't do that. Wait until after sunset, until the time arrives. When you keep telling yourself wait and wait and wait, then tomorrow when you face a difficult situation, you don't make a hasty decision. You don't say, I was too weak and I had to succumb to this. I had no choice. You don't say that. You find yourself to be in a stronger position, in a better position to protect yourself. To protect yourself. I read from time to time that there are surveys that show that there is a higher number of our children in Europe and North America are using drugs. They become addicted to it. And when you ask them about it, they say, well, everybody is doing it. You know, this is something very common. If you don't do it, then you are not a youth. You are not a human being. Most of them, this is what they say. So, the month of Ramadan is an opportunity for us, my friends. Let me talk to you, if you are watching me, and you are a youth, and you are one of those people who have been addicted to drugs, and you think this is cool, you think this is fine, you think that you have to fit in with the rest of the community, your classmates, everyone is doing that, so I have to do that, no problem. Listen to this. You are destroying your life. You are inflicting a damage on your soul, on your mind, and your body. They are suffering, but you don't notice. Your soul is suffering, your mind is suffering, and your body is suffering too. You don't notice it now. You will notice it in the future. You will notice this fragmentation, this weakness in the future, soon. So give up on that. How do you give up on that? Begin fasting, true fasting. You have to taste the hunger. You have to taste the thirst. You have to really taste it. And then say to yourself, why I'm hungry? The food now, the food that is my mother is preparing for dinner tonight, smells good. Why I'm not approaching the food? There is a drink next to me. Why I'm not touching it now? Ask yourself these questions. And when you provide yourself with the right answer, that I'm not eating and not drinking because I respect God, there is a covenant between me and God. Ahd, covenant. I made a covenant with God that I'm not going to touch this until He permits me. ثم أتم الصيام إلى الليل. When the night comes, enjoy the eat, enjoy the food, enjoy the drink, enjoy eating. When you teach yourself this, then similarly you can apply the same argument and the same discussion to the drugs. Say, God said to me, don't get close to this because this is harmful. I hear now that, well, this percentage of the drug and that type of the drug, it's legal, it's okay. Nothing is legal, nothing is okay. You know, in the West we do sometimes foolish things. When someone, you know, speeds on the highway, he gets pulled over by a police officer, they fine him, they give him a citation. When he asks about this, they say, because you are driving recklessly, dangerously, you put your life and the lives of others in danger, in harm's way. This is correct, we agree with that. But then when someone is drinking heavily and he's putting himself and the lives of others in danger, not while he's driving, while he's sitting in a bar, in his house, in a restaurant, in a cafe, they don't stop him. Although he's putting himself, the danger is not when you are under the influence. It's not when you are only driving. Someone who gets drunk, he does not become dangerous only when he drives. He becomes dangerous all the times. Even if he is sitting in his bedroom, he becomes dangerous to himself and those who live around him. Because the alcohol is affecting his mind, undermining his rationale, his ability to think correctly, undermining it. So with this scenario, he's okay. Nobody is saying to him, you are doing something illegal. When someone smokes, for instance, he's damaging his health, and those who live around him, nobody says anything to him. We should change these things. We should not apply one standard of rules to one situation and we don't apply it to others. When something is harmful, it should be stopped. When something is dangerous, poses a danger, it should be stopped. You should quit that. You should quit that. Because when you use drugs, you're going to hurt yourself and you're going to hurt your family and ultimately your community. When you drink alcohol, you are hurting yourself and hurting your family and hurting your community. We should stop that. Fasting is the best type of rehabilitation. Provides you with an opportunity, a rational opportunity, not just emotional, rational opportunity that you reflect and you think about what you are doing. If there is something wrong with it, you stop it. You don't do it. Because now you elevated yourself. You took yourself higher and higher to a level that you know that you are in a better position to say no. No. I mean it when I say no. Your no is going to be stronger, without hesitation, without confusion, with full trust and full confidence. You're going to say, no, I'm not going to do this. These are one of the goals of fasting. Another objectives of fasting is to think about others. Oftentimes, humans tend to be selfish, tend to think about their own life, their own future, their own happiness. They don't think about others. They don't consider those who live around them. This is neither good to himself nor to his community. We should change this type of thinking. We should try to think more and more about others, about their feelings, about their situations, about their resentments, about their happiness. We should think about it. We should be more considerate, more thoughtful, not just to focus on ourselves. This is the message of religion, is to put your focus on others, not just yourself. Zoom out a little bit. Get out of your cocoon and think of how to bring happiness to those, at least to those who live around you. I don't want to exaggerate and say, well, try to bring happiness to the whole world, to the whole country, to the whole society. I would say at least to those who live around you. Don't hurt them. Try not to hurt. The best Muslim is the one who does not hurt those who live with him and around him. Al-Muslimu man salima an-nasu min lisanihi wa yadihi. The devout Muslim is the one that those who live around him are happy with him, are at peace with him. He does not abuse anyone, and he does not take advantage of anyone. He tries to bring happiness and ease and comfort to those who live around him. Sometimes he has money he can give, sometimes he has guidance, sometimes he has a shelter, and sometimes he says, I don't have any of these, so I don't hurt. I don't hurt him. I don't hurt with my tongue. I do not hurt with my intentions. I don't hurt with my hands. I keep my hands, my tongue, my ears, my eyes off those people who are around me. If I cannot do goodness, at least I curb my evil. I stay away. I try not to hurt others. And this is the minimum, this is the basic that we can do. Al-Muslimu man salima an-nas min lisanihi wa yadihi. So we have to share. We have to be thoughtful of others. We have to be compassionate. One of the ways that we can share is food. See how food, the plate of food, becomes very precious, becomes very dear to you and important to you at the time of breaking the fast. Islam says share this, share the plate, share the food. Give some money. Say, I donate this money, $10, $20, $50, to this cause, to this orphanage, to this community, for those who are poor, for those who are needy. And there are plenty. One fourth of the entire humanity, they are severely and terribly deprived. More than 1/5 of the entire humanity live below the poverty line. More than 50%. So we can do something to them. We can't bring relief to the entire humanity. We can't do that, definitely. We are not the United Nations, so we can bring peace and happiness to everyone. But we can have some change, some change. Islam says some change, little change, small. Try to do that. Don't say, I can't do anything. You can do. You have the power. You have the influence. At least donate yourself. Say, I will donate. There is some shortages here, deprivation there, poverty there, some people who are crying here, there is some distress there, so I can reach here and there. Small things you can do here and there. This is the month of Ramadan. This is the opportunity for us to try to do good things to others, to try to reach out to others. إن الله لا يغير ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم. Your Lord, your God, is not going to change the fate of any community unless they change their circumstances. They have to change it. They have to do something good. The month of Ramadan, it crushes selfishness, makes us a better people, a better community. This is why we share the iftar. One of the beautiful things that many communities, many Islamic centers do during the month of Ramadan, the sense of sharing, breaking the bread together, solidifying the spirit of brotherhood, sisterhood, unity, the sense of family, the sense of togetherness. We are together into this. We are not only alone. We'd like to share what we have with others. This is very good. Some people, they donate for the iftar, and you know how much goodness they receive? Some people pay $500. In return, they receive millions and millions and millions of goodness. Not just in terms of money, in terms of peace, tranquility, happiness, prosperity, spiritual growth. Spiritual growth. With your money, you can buy spiritual growth. You can buy some stability in your community. With the money that you pay. With the money that you pay to feed, to salvage, to bring relief, to bring happiness, to bring some smile to those who are severely wounded by poverty. Poverty is very, very, very terrible. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, لو تمثل لي الفقر رجلا لقتلته. If I only can see the embodiment of poverty becoming, incarnating in a shape of a man, I would slaughter it. I will destroy it. I hate poverty. I hate to see children having no food, having no shelter, wandering in the streets. I hate to see that. It breaks my heart. This is Imam Ali alayhi salam. And we should say the same and do the same and feel the same. When you see some children, kids as young as 3, 4, 5 years old, wandering in the streets, searching for food. Some of them, they come to the pile of trash in Muslim countries. And I'm not talking about India alone or Africa alone. In the heart of the Middle East, in some Muslim countries, some of them, they come searching for food in the trash, the filthiest place, to eat, to survive. This is not good for all of us. It's not only bad for them, the kids, it's bad for the whole society. The whole society should feel ashamed, embarrassed to see this happening. A righteous leader would not allow his nation, he would not starve his nation. Neither he will tolerate seeing a section, a part of his nation, his ummah, his subjects go through such sufferings. أأقنع أن يقال لي أمير المؤمنين ولا أشارك الناس في مكاره الدهر ولعل في الحجاز أو اليمامة من لا طمع له في القرص ولا عهد له بالشبع. This is the leader, the commander of the faithfuls, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. He says, do you expect me to be satisfied with my leadership? People call me, oh, commander of the faithfuls, oh, leader, oh, supreme leader, you are a great man. And then I see at the far end of my state, of my country, of my society, there are some people, some orphans, some disfranchised, being deprived from a loaf of bread. I cannot accept that. I would not be happy. I would not be satisfied. I can't stand this. I can't tolerate this. This is Amir al-Mu'mineen. We should learn this from him. We should learn this by sharing, by searching for those who are needy. We go after them. We ask. Sometimes they are in your family. Sometimes they are found in your own family and you don't know about them. This is the month of Ramadan. This is the message of fasting. One person comes to the 6th Imam, al-Imam Ja'far ibn Muhammad al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam, and he asks him about why do we abstain from eating. He says, so the ghani, the rich, it's an opportunity for the rich. When he doesn't eat, he feels the starvation. He feels it. And once he feels it, he says, oh, now I remember. Now I understand how people suffer when they don't have food to eat, when they don't have something to drink. Now I remember. Now I feel. This is the objective of fasting. You taste the bitterness of hunger, the bitterness of thirst, and then you try to do something about it. You try to give something, you try to donate something, you try to reach out to some people to give them some of what you have, not all, some of what you have. لن تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا مما تحبون. O Muslims, O believers, you would never be able to reach kindness, wholesomeness, dutifulness until you give from what you love. You give from what you love. You share with others from what you have and what you love, what you cherish. Give to others, share, give them. It will come back to you in a nice way, in a good way, in a constructive way. I know many people who are generous. and they benefit from their own generosity. They who are generous, they are the first one who reap the fruit of their generosity. How is that? How is that? I look at them at difficult situations. When God is testing them, they are powerful. They don't give in. They don't collapse. Whatever happens to them, their relationship with God becomes stronger and deeper. And this is the result of 20, 30 years of generosity, of giving to others. While others who were selfish, who did not give, the opportunity came to them and they had money, they had millions of dollars. They had millions of dollars. The opportunity came to them many times. Please give, please donate, please help, please provide. They abstained. They said no, bringing excuses. Oh, the economic situation is bad, you know, I lost money here, I lost money there. While he has, she has, they still have, but they refused to give. When they faced a tough situation, they collapsed. They collapsed. They could not survive. They lost themselves. They lost their faith. They lost their akhlaq. They were destroyed because they did not give. They did not build themselves. The opportunity came to them to build themselves, to strengthen themselves. They refused. They declined. This is the rule of this life. When you stand with people at the time of distress, God is going to stand with you at the time you need Him the most. When you decline to give, God is saying, listen, I love the generous. I love the one who gives. Since you didn't give, and you had the opportunity, you had the money, you had the resources, but you chose not to give, don't expect me. God says, do not expect me to stand with you. I'm not going to stand with you. I'm going to leave you alone. I'm going to leave you with your own wealth. This wealth helps you. Don't say, oh God, help me. Say, oh wealth, my sweetheart, my wealth, help me now. Therefore, my friends, the month of Ramadan is an opportunity for us to share, to give, to help, to aid, to break the fast with others, to try to reach out to areas, some remote areas. Now I'm in Iraq. Since I arrived 2 days ago, the beginning of the month of Ramadan, in the shrine of Imam Hussein here, which is not far from here, behind me is the shrine of Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam, and on this side is the shrine of al-Imam Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, peace be upon both of them. I saw in the holy shrine many refugees who fled the war-torn areas in northern Iraq. Many of those are believers, good mu'mineen, good believers. The terrorists who invaded Iraq recently, they displaced them. They invaded their homes, they plundered, they killed, they raped. So many of those refugees, they had to flee, and they sought refuge here. Where is better than Karbala? Where is better than Imam Hussein alayhi salam? And some of them went to Najaf. And I found many of them, they had a good life, but now they are in a state of distress. They need some help. There are now refugees in Syria. We've been told that 10 million Syrian people are refugees. They lost their towns, their villages, their homes. They need help. There are refugees in Afghanistan, in Pakistan. You know, many people now, millions of people, they are spending this month of Ramadan in refugee camps. In Iraq, in Lebanon, in Syria, in Jordan, in Turkey, in in Pakistan, Afghanistan, in Yemen, and the number is increasing. Let's do something. Let's help. Let's give generously. If you know a family, try to help them. Al-aqrabuna awla bil ma'ruf. In your family, if there are people who are in need, go to them. For the sake of your own goodness. For the sake of your own goodness. وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ تَجِدُوا. When you give out of goodness, out of clear and a pure intention, you're going to find it there for you in your account. You are depositing what you give into your own account. You're going to see it right before your eyes at the time when you need it. You're going to feel it, becoming a better person. This is the month of Ramadan. These are some of the goals and objectives of why we fast. These are some of the answers. We need to be better people. We need to change ourselves. We need to transform ourselves. We need to strengthen the relationship with God. We need to focus during this month on the prayers, on the Quran. Don't forget the recitation of the Quran with reflection, with understanding. We need to increase the dua. Try to take some time out of our very, very, very busy schedule, some moment of privacy to recite the dua, to reflect. We need to give zakat, charity, donations, sadaqat to others. We have to help them with what we own, with what we have. May Allah bless you all, inshallah. And I hope from tomorrow we're going to begin a new series on brotherhood and sisterhood in Islam. How to become closer to each other, how to live with others in peace and harmony, and strengthen the social ties with those who share the earth and share the community with us. May Allah bless you all, inshallah. May Allah accept your fasting, your prayers, your Quran, your supplication, and your charities. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.